In 2008's iconic Christopher Nolan movie, The Dark Knight, actor Michael Caine had revealed there was a moment where he was completely shocked by what he had seen from Heath Ledger, who played the Joker. He believed that Heath brought jaw-droppingly authentic dimensions to his character.
I just want to see her smile again. I just want her to know that I don't care about the scars.
He said, Heath will frighten the life out of you. During the 2007 press junket for Kenneth Branagh's Sleuth, Michael Caine continued by saying, he did me the first time I saw him. Because we did a rehearsal on the first day and we hadn't met or anything, he had to come up in an elevator to our home, Batman's home. I'm thinking I'm letting friends in, instead of which he's killed them all, and he's coming up in the lift. So on the first rehearsal, when the bloody door opened on that lift, he came tearing out. I forgot every line. Terrifying. This was the scene where the Joker crashed Bruce Wayne's party. So the shock on Alfred's face at that time wasn't acting, but genuine shock from Michael Caine. 1990's Goodfellas is a prime example of the gangster and mafia genre. Amongst all the brilliance, there was also an interesting story involving Joe Pesci. He had told director Martin Scorsese about a personal experience he had witnessing a real-life mobster in a conversation. Scorsese told him to run with it without telling the rest of the cast, and the scene where he enacts it is so iconic that became a Joe Pesci hallmark. It's the scene where Tommy asks Henry what makes him funny.
You're a funny guy.
What do you mean the way I talk?
You know, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how? I mean, what's funny about it? Well, I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
None of the cast or crew knew this was coming, so the actors are genuinely puzzled and scared for a moment, thinking Pesci is seriously angry about something. Supposedly, when Ray Liotta calls his bluff at the end of the scene, it was real in the sense that he finally actually caught on, and only then did Pesci reveal he was playing.
I almost had him!
The relieved sighs and laughter at the end of the scene are all genuine. This moment underscored Tommy's character as someone fearsome and dangerously unstable, even in the friendliest of situations.
Lay your palm flat on that tabletop!
2013's Django Unchained had some extreme moments, but it still remains a memorable movie, especially due to performances like Leonardo DiCaprio as Calvin Candy. In one particular scene, Leo realizes that the Doctor and Django are here in Candyland to make a fool of him and only purchase Broomhilda rather than any of his fighting men. So, while at the dinner table, he is very angry, goes on to explain how an African-American skull has a certain deformity by breaking open a skull with a blade and hammer.
And the skull of the African here.
It was during this scene where we see that Leo cuts his hand somewhere and it gets completely bloody. After this happens, he goes on and rubs his blood as a crazy maniac onto the face of Broomhilda, played by Kerry Washington. The interesting thing is that this was never in the script.
This nigga here is too steep. What I'm gonna desire to do is...
While smashing his hand on the table, Leo accidentally broke the glass on the table and actually cut his hand. But he didn't want to stop the scene, and he just improvised with the cut.
Jackass.
The horror you see on Kerry Washington's face is because of all the blood being real, as she did not know that Leo would do something so extreme. 2000's Requiem for a Dream was truly a heavy movie to take in, and it is not at all for those who are faint of heart. There are multiple scenes that could cause irreparable trauma, but in the middle of all this madness, there was an incident that went beyond the story and actually affected one of the filming crew. This is at a pivotal moment in the film, during Ellen Burstyn's impassioned monologue about being old.
It's a reason to lose weight, to fit in a red dress. It's a reason to smile.
This scene does hit hard because her character goes through a hellish sequence just to be able to fit in a red dress that would remind her of what she was like when she was young. It was such a powerful performance that cinematographer Matthew Libatique accidentally let the camera drift off target. When confronted about it, director Darren Aronofsky realized that Libatique was actually crying during the take, which fogged up the camera's eyepiece. Even so, Aronofsky decided to keep this in the movie because he wanted it to showcase the emotions that were associated with the film as well.
I'm lonely. I'm old. It's not the same.
2016 Suicide Squad may not have been a hit, but there was one story that shocked not only the people who heard it, but also Jared Leto's co-star, Margot Robbie. Leto was playing the role of the Joker, while Robbie was playing his love interest, Harley Quinn. In order to get into character for this role, Jared Leto would do all sorts of weird things to creep the crew out, so that they would behave with him as if he was actually the Joker himself.
You're gonna be my friend.
The weirdest thing, though, was when he apparently sent Margot Robbie a dead rat. There are some contrasting claims to this, as Robbie herself said that she was sent a live rat, not a dead one.
Mr. J gave me a rat, and he became a beloved pet.
However, Leto himself would deny these claims later on in an interview where he said that he had actually just sent Robbie some cinnamon buns.
I never gave Robbie a dead rat. Vegan cinnamon buns?
That does seem highly unlikely though, as Margot had explicitly stated that she had received a rat, which had naturally unsettled her. She was able to continue with her performance, but she did have this strange gift in the back of her mind whenever she was shooting with Leto.
Who wants the grand tour? Anybody else?
In 2000's Galaxy Quest, Sigourney Weaver, who played Gwen, didn't know that Sam Rockwell's character, Guy, was going to scream in terror the way he did when the crew arrived on the ship. In this scene, he sees the Thermians without their human appearance generators, and he decided to go off the script by unleashing a scream that none of the crew members had expected. Most definitely not Weaver. You can actually see her very real reaction at that moment in the scene, which means she was not acting here at all. Also, the rest of the crew found this so funny that they all burst out laughing after the scene got done, and Weaver had to regain her composure. Sam Rockwell does have an extensive range, and he had felt that screaming at this very moment was the right thing for his character to do. Of course, his co-star did not anticipate that, which led to this rather humorous shocker. Michael Mann's 1995 classic Heat has managed to stand the test of time, and is a great film to watch even 30 years after its release. However, there was one scene where Mann went a bit too hard on Al Pacino, who played Lieutenant Vincent Hanna. It's when Hanna goes berserk on Hank Azaria's character Alan and tells him about a certain woman having a great butt.
Why'd I get mixed up with that bitch?
Here, she got a great ass!
This seems maniacal and crazy to most, and the truth is that this was all Al Pacino's doing, as it was not in the script, so the reaction you see from Hank is actually legitimate, and not him trying to act.
And you got your head all the way up it! When I think of asses, woman's ass, something comes out of me.
The truth of the matter is that Pacino was so fed up of Mann forcing him to do multiple takes for this scene that he decided to do whatever the hell he wanted, and it ended up with Mann actually choosing this particular outburst. It's no secret that Al Pacino loved to play angry characters, so maybe the director wanted to get a natural reaction out of him over here. 2017's It was a great adaptation that spooked audiences and cast members alike, mostly due to Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise the Clown. It turns out that the child actors were actually kept away from Bill Skarsgård as much as possible, so their reactions to Pennywise would be authentic. This is true because the director Andy Muschietti and producer Barbara Muschietti revealed in an interview that they wanted the kids' reactions to be genuine. They allowed the young actors to meet Skarsgård only at the first table read, but then kept him away until it was time for him to put on his makeup.
And we felt it was important to hide Pennywise. We wanted the hypnotic creature than he is.
This allowed for a sense of mystery to take over, which would only enhance the reaction the kids would have to him. The shocked faces you see on the screen are most likely genuine reactions, because none of these actors had any idea what the character design was going to look like until this point. Like, share, and subscribe if you liked this clip, and let me know what you'd like to see next. Okay then, see you soon.